die, but should enjoy an everlasting blissful life of knowledge. This is, I will repeat. Survival does not mean that one should die. Survival means that one should not die, but should enjoy an everlastingly blissful life of knowledge. This is Bible. This is purport of Srila Prabhupada from Srimad Bhagvatam 8:523. So thank you. Who have joined the call, can you please announce their names? As our speaker Ramchandra Prabhuji is ready to give the class, and we are starting a new chapter.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to all the assembled devotees on this call. This is Premanandini from Ashburn, Virginia.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna Maharaj and Hare Krishna to all devotees. This is Malini from Ashburn, Virginia. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for greeting so nicely by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Anybody else would like to announce their name? I see Chitra Mataji there. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you for joining. And Hare Krishna Nikunjras Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam to you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. I'm not sure it's Prabhuji or it's Manithar Prabhu, but anyway, anybody else would like to announce before I hand over?
और चिल्ली पसंद आया? हाँ, अच्छा है.
Okay, so today on our Everyday Chant Harinam conference call, raised
राइस में फ्राई करके उसको राइस के साथ खाओ, ऐसा करके खाओ.
and he will enlighten us today on the verse.
शिमला चिली.
मेरा बेटी बोल रहा था शिमला चिली.
वो तेज है, चिल्ली भी तेज है.
So Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, you can take over, Prabhuji.
जय हो.
Jai Ho.
ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. नमामि विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने. नामस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पक्षदेशता. नमामि विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने शिशिव भक्तिवेदान्त नारायण इति नामिने. नमामि विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती नामिने. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapad Kamalam. Anybody has these books or any of this, you can repeat after me. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapad Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Prasad Sagana Sri Vishakantam Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya चक्षुरुमिलितं तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. वंचितरूपस्य कृपासिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो
नमो नमः.
नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिसे नमः. पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकम्. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिसे नमः. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते. गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. जयतां स्वरूपं मम मंदमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्य पदाम्बोजो श्री राधा मदनमो. दिव्यात् वृंदारण्य कल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद रत्नांगर सिंहासनस्थो श्री राधा शिल गोविंद देवो पृष्ठाल सेव्यमानो स्मरामि. श्रीमन् रासरसारं विभं शिव ततस्थित कर्षण वेणुष्वनैर् गोपी गोपीनाथ श्री स्तुनः. वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavattai Namo Namaha. Hey Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Bolo. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Everybody Hare Ram Ram
Ram,
Ram Hare Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram
Rama, Rama
Ram,
Rama.
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama.
Ram, Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everybody.
Om Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate
Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Om
Namo
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Narayanam Namaskritya.
Namaskritya.
Yanchaiva Narottamam.
Jai
Narottamam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam.
Tato Jayom Udirayet.
Yadojayam Udirahe.
Shinvatam Swakata Krishna.
Shri
Shivatam
Shinvatam Swakata Krishna.
Shakata Krishna.
Krishna
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
Punya Shravana Kirtana.
Hridyantastoya Bhadrani.
Hridya Santo
Vidyate
Ani
Vidunoti Surat Satam.
Vidunoti Srot
Saraswatam.
Nashtaprayeshu Avadreshu.
Prayeshu Reshu.
Aptu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Nitam Bhagavate Sevaya.
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke.
Bhagavati Uttama Sloke.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
Bhakti
Bhakti Nestiti.
So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Gaunitai Radharamani Giriraj Giri Govardhan ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sukadev Goswami Prabhu ki jai, ho, Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Purports ki jai. Ho. So we are reading from chapter 7, text 1. We are first going to read the introduction. You all have this book with you in front of you? Hello?
the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes,
Yes, Prabhuji. I mean, we do, and I can also share the link of.
yes. Yeah, you should all have Bhagavatam before. Otherwise, we are reading, nobody will understand. Lord Shiva saves the universe by drinking poison. This is the chapter 7 title.
Are we reading
The
the?
summary of the
Are we reading the introduction?
yes.
Okay.
Summary of the 7th chapter is as follows. As described in this chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing in his incarnation as a tortoise, dove deep into the ocean to carry Mandara mountain on his back. At first, the churning of the ocean produced Kalakuta poison. Everyone feared this poison. This is also called halahala, Kalakuta halahala. But Lord Shiva satisfied them by drinking it, with the understanding that when the nectar was generated from the churning, they would share it equally. The demigods and the demons brought Vasuki to be used as a rope for the demigod for the churning rod. By the expert arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the demons held the snake near the mouth, whereas the demigods held the tail of the tail of the great snake. Then, with great endeavor, they began pulling the snake in both directions. Because the churning rod, Mandara mountain, and was very heavy and was not held up by any support in the water, it sank into the ocean. And in this way, the prowess of both the demons and demigods was vanquished. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then appeared in the form of a tortoise and supported Mandara mountain on his back. Then the churning resumed with great force. As a result of the churning, a huge amount of poison was produced. The Prajapatis, seeing no one else to save them, approached Lord Shiva and offered him prayers full of truth. Lord Shiva is called Ashutosh because he is very pleased if he is very pleased if one is a devotee. Therefore, he easily agreed to drink all the poison generated by the churning. The goddess Durga Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, was not at all disturbed when Lord Shiva agreed to drink the poison, for she knew Lord Shiva's prowess. Indeed, she expressed her pleasure at this agreement. Then Lord Shiva gathered the devastating poison, which was everywhere. He took it in his hand and drank it. After he drank it, the poison, his neck became bluish. That's why it's called Nilakanta. A small amount of the poison dropped from his hands to the ground, and it is because of this poison there are many poisonous snakes, scorpions, and toxic plants and other poisonous things in this world. So in the introduction, here it is very clearly mentioned the demigods, they have a nature of taking help from Krishna and Lord Shiva, the great devotee, because they know if the situation becomes contrary to what one expects, they've become very helpless. That is the nature of the demigod. That is written in the next verse. A couple of verses they talk about the nature of the demons and the nature of the demigod. The demigods, they appeal to the Lord for help, whereas the demons, they think it's accidental. They think they can solve it themselves, like the modern day situation of the world. So the text one, you please repeat after me. Sri Shuka Vacha
Shri Shukha Vacha
Te Nagarajam Rajam Amritriya Amantriya
Te
Racham
Rajam Amantri
Amantriya
Falabhagena Vasukim
Falabhagena Vasukim
Asukim
Pariviya Girao Tasmin
Pariviya Girau Tasmin
Girau Tasmin
Netram Abdim Mudanviha Vita
Netram Adhim Mudan
Anvita
Vita.
Amritarte
You left one line, I think.
Kurudvaha.
Prabhuji, you left the second last
Yeah,
line.
second one line before that.
Sura
Are Bire Sura Yata
Ari Bire Sura Yata
Amritarte Kurudvaha.
Amritarthi
Ate Guru Tvaha.
Gurudvaha.
1 minute.
Guru Tvaha.
There's a big program going on outside. They're playing loudspeakers very loud. So I had to go and close the door. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Sukadeva Goswami said, O best of the Kurus, Maharaj Parikshit, the demigods and the demons summoned Vasuki, the king of the serpents, requesting him to come and promising to give him a share of the nectar. They coiled Vasuki around the Mandara mountain as a churning rope, and with great pleasure they endeavored to produce nectar by the churning the great ocean of milk. The next verse we'll read. Hari Purasta Jagre. Repeat.
Text 2.
Yeah, text 2.
The short words, okay. Hari Purasta Jagre
Purvam Devas Tato Abhavan.
Purvam devas tato
Tato Bhavan.
Abhavan.
Abhavan, sorry. Abhavan.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ajita, grasped the front portion of the snake and the demigods followed. Tan Naichan Daitya Pataya
Tan Naichan Daitya Pataya.
patayo
Mahapurusha Chestitam
Mahapurusha
mahachestatam
Chestatam.
Na Grinimo Varyam Pucham
na grahe nimo vayayam puchaham
Na Grinimo Vayaham Pucham.
cham
Aher Angam Amangalam
ahir angam amangalam
Aher Angam Amangalam.
Swadhyaya Shruta Sampanna
Swadhyaya Shruta Sampanna.
na
Prakyatha Janma Karmavi.
Prakyata Janma Karmabhi. Sorry.
The translation, the leaders of the demons thought it unwise to hold the tail, the inauspicious portion of the snake. Instead, they wanted to hold the front, which had been taken by the personality of Godhead and the demigods, because that portion was auspicious and glorious. Thus, the demons, on the plea that they were all highly advanced students of the Vedic knowledge and were all famous for their birth and activities, protested that they wanted to hold the front of the snake. Typical of demons, Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The demons thought that the front of the snake was auspicious and that catching hold of that portion would be more chivalrous. Moreover, the Daityas must always do the opposite of the demigods. That is the nature. We have actually seen that in relation to our Krishna conscious movement, we are advocating cow protection and encouraging people to drink more milk and eat palatable preparations and made of milk. But the demons, just to protest such proposals, are claiming that they are advanced in scientific knowledge, as described here by the words Swadhyaya Shruta Sampannaha. They say that according to their scientific way, they have discovered that milk is dangerous and that the beef contained or the beef obtained by killing a cow is very nutritious. This difference of opinions will always continue. Indeed, it has existed since days of yore. Millions of uh, their so-called Vedic study preferred to hold the side of the snake near the tail. Millions of years ago, there was the same competition. The demons, as a result of their so-called Vedic study and preferred to hold the side of the snake is near the mouth. The personality of God had thought it wise to catch hold of the dangerous part of the snake and follow the demons to hold and allow the demons to hold the tail, which was not dangerous. But because of the competitive desire, the tail, which was not dangerous, the demons thought it wise to hold the snake near the mouth. If the demigods were going to drink poison, the demons would resolve, why should we not share the poison and die gloriously by drinking it? Very typical of the demons. They will say milk is very not good for health. It increases cholesterol. They have their own theory. All the demons, whatever they say, the modern advancement, this is all their theories of we have to move faster. They dig the ground, get oil, and oil will be the cause of the next third world war. Because already we can see Russia, America, and they are all fighting who will sell the oil most. So these are demoniac activities. Even in among the Muslims also, we generally put water like this and wipe out our face like this. But they will put the water from down to up, not up to down, down to up. Everything is like that. Everything they do is opposite. But this is the nature of the demons. If you eat with right hand, they'll eat with left hand. And it's like that. So we are living in the Kali Yuga, and the demons, the population of the demons, small time demons, they are not even big timers, is lot. Their education system, basically, it's mostly exploitative education. The result of this education is how to exploit material nature up to the maximum. When I was in America, I told some Americans I was speaking, I told you have only 300 million people, but you consume 60% of the world's production. So they say, but we are helping people by trade, like the modern situation, trade tariff, this and that. They will have their own way of describing. So I gave them another example. In the rice fields in India, all over the world, it's like that, but in India especially, between the two fields, there's a narrow passage to walk. So what happens when an animal, a cow or a bull walks, it will pass dung and pass urine, and everything is always green. Whereas a human being, when he walks, due to the heat under the feet, all the grass gets evaporated. There is no grass growing in that place. So I told this American, this is exactly like trying to help other countries. What if you go to another country, everything will be finished, both materially and spiritually. This is happening now. People have become so dependent on America. Thousands of students are coming to America to study, but now they have put the real trick they are playing. Now you have to pay so much money, this and that, and now they can even get out. They have to be thrown out of the country. It can happen because by nature they are racist by nature. Even recently that J.D. Vance and his wife, there was a whole thing about that. He said, I wish my wife becomes a Christian. Because they want that the present party, everybody remains as a Christian. But she's an Indian, her complexion is different. So he suddenly started flirting with the wife of this Kiri or some lady, some man who was killed recently by a bullet. So Kirk. So now she is trying to flirt with this husband of Usha. So this is bound to happen. See, the Usha is such a brilliant girl, very good samskars, but he will have his own mentality. He acted as if they are together, but actually they are supposed to be Christians, and now he's trying to do something to either you become a Christian or we divorce. This is the mentality. Overall, because their education is like that, exploitative education. Use anybody and everybody for their own benefit. Don't worry about others' benefit. That's what Trump is doing. They want to make America great. They want all the money to come. They think because of the liberal laws of America, all the countries exploited America, and America is in a bad shape. Therefore, we should now exploit other countries. But they are always exploiting other countries. Selling weapons. What is selling weapons means? Exploiting. Create wars and sell weapons. That is the nature of demons. Demons always create a problem, and then with that problem, they try to solve it. And if they are successful, they'll take credits. If they are not successful, they say, well, it was accidental, and it is not so important. So we have to be very careful with this type of knowledge, because this type of knowledge is an ascending process of knowledge. This is not a descending process. Descending process is the knowledge that is coming down in disciplic succession, free from 4 defects of sense perceptions, 4 defects of the conditioned soul. That's why it is called apaurusheya. Descending knowledge is apaurusha. We are basing our knowledge as we receive by disciple succession through Guru Parapara, these Shastras. That's why Rupa Goswami says, Shruti Smriti Puranati Pancharating Vidim Vina Ekantiki Harer Bhakti Utpata Kalpati. Any knowledge, anything, especially devotional service, which is not based on Shruti and Smritis, then it is an unnecessary cause for confusion, utpataya. So this is modern civilization. It's so-called advanced, but the problems are increasing like anything. And you can see their financial system, everything is like there was an article also about how England exploited India to the maximum, and they took gold, cash, silk, everything to the tune of $43 trillion, more than the present debt of America. That's how much they built England by exploiting. And they created an artificial famine in India, where about 10 million people died, 5 to 10 million people. But this is the nature of demons. You cannot help it. They have swabhaviki by nature. Whereas demigods, they will try to solve the problem in a very rational, proper way as Krishna gives them the intelligence. Therefore, we have to be very careful with this modern education. This is based on exploitation, and if we not careful, we will be drifting, and we will even, our Indians are now even glorifying, well, this is America, see how clean it is, there's all roads and parks and this, but at what cost? The problems in America is so increasingly more. Now the IC has come, they're throwing away people, in a very heavy way, even though they may have a reason to throw them out, but this will come. Now the Indians will also have to face it. Like in Hitler time, anyone who was a non-German, they were thrown out, especially the Jews. They were all killed. So that is the nature of these people. In regard to the worldwide Swadhyaya Shruta Sampanna Prakyata Janma Karma Vi, another question may be raised. If one is actually educated in Vedic knowledge, is famous for performing prescribed activities, has been born in a great aristocratic family, why should he be called a demon? The answer is that one may be highly educated and may have been born in an aristocratic family, but if he is godless, if does not listen to the instructions of God, then he is a demon. There are many examples in the history of men like Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, and Kamsa, who were well educated, who were born in aristocratic family, and who were very powerful and chivalrous in fighting, but who, because of deriding the Supreme Personality of God, were called Rakshasas or demons. One may be very well educated, but if he has no sense of Krishna consciousness, no obedience to the Supreme Lord, he is a demon. That is described by the Lord himself in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita 7:15. Namam Duskritano Muda Prabhadyante Naradama Maya Aprata Jnana Asuram Bhavam Ashrita. Those miscreants who are greedy, foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Asurim Bhavam refers to not accepting the existence of God or the transcendental instructions imparted directly by the Supreme Personality of God. But Asuras, instead of accepting this instruction directly, make commentaries according to their own whimsical ways and mislead everyone, without profit even for themselves. One should therefore be very careful of the demoniac, godless persons. According to the words of Lord Krishna, even if a godless demon is very well educated, he must be considered a Muda, Naradama, and Maya Pratakya. Very strong words Prabhupada has used, but it is a fact. Because there are actually two classes of men, Suras and Asuras, demigods and demons. And since time immemorial, there is constant fight between them. And nowadays, the population of Asuras has increased because just like in this war in Gaza, they feel that the Jews are now killing these people, innocent children. Who is innocent? The children and women, they're all eating meat. They're giving the children meat. So who can be innocent? So they will die also like that. Very mercilessly butchered. That happened during World War II. Everywhere, all over the world, it's like that. And there was another YouTube article, how America made billions and billions and billions of dollars by smuggling opium into China. At that time also China was quite powerful. But these countries, they didn't want to see China powerful. So they gave him opium and they took the opium and they become all useless. They did that to the Red Indians also. They could not defeat the Red Indians in an open fight because the Red Indians were very, very powerful also. So they gave them whiskey. And when they drank whiskey, they became all intoxicated and they started becoming addicts. And they were all thrown into reservations in America, where all the Indians can live together. Finished. So you can see how they even killed all the buffaloes. If you go to America, I've been there. I was looking because I used to read in the books thousands and millions of buffaloes in America. But when I went there, I could not even see one buffalo. I saw only one buffalo in Oklahoma. Otherwise, there were no buffaloes. Because these whites, they would come in a train and they have a little a little up above the roof, and they put their guns and they started just shooting the buffaloes in millions, because buffaloes were very useful for the Red Indians. They would take the buffalo, they killed something, but not every buffalo. They use the fat for their own benefit, because America is a cold country. But whereas the Europeans, they came and finished all the millions of buffaloes. Now, if you can see hardly one or two buffaloes, you'll be very lucky. So this is the nature of the demons. Their education, their mode of lifestyle, practically naked running around on the street. They had a big concert called Woodstock some before in the 60s. And almost all the people were drug addicted and having sex life openly and everything going crazy. And Indra was very cruel to them. He poured so much rain there. And due to the rain, they were, instead of taking shelter of a place where there is no rain, they all were sliding in the muddy water, muddy sand. They're foolish by nature. They will do immediately everything opposite. Take alcohol to the max, take as much as alcohol as possible. And the 400,000 people who came there, originally they sold only 200,000 tickets. And that was expensive tickets, $75 I heard. And this was done by some Jewish young boys. They thought, okay, let us make a concert. And they had one of the biggest concerts in America. Whereas in India, a Kumbh Mela will attract more than millions and millions and millions. And you see the whole Kumbh Mela is vegetarian. They never cut the meat. They had no problem. Whereas these people were passing stool and urine everywhere because there were no toilets. They were not prepared for that. So this is the demonic way of doing. Whereas in India, Kumbh Mela is there since time immemorial. And we never saw an epidemic happening and people are dying. They would make holes in the Ganga bank and people would go for, they have hundreds of toilets. People will pass stool and then they go to the river and take nice shower. And when they pass stool, they will smear it themselves with paper. They will never even use water. This is the demoniac. Everything they do is opposite. That's what is mentioned here. The demons were thinking. First, Krishna came and he held the mouth. So all the demigods, they followed the Lord. So when the demons saw, oh, why should we have the tail? It is not auspicious. They said, no, we will take the mouth. So Krishna agreed, okay, you take the mouth. And when the poison came, they all suffered a lot. They're everything, like the modern society. They have automobiles, motorcycles running around all over the world, but on what basis is that? It's based on petrol. That means you have to dig the ground, take oil from there, and then you throw it in the atmosphere in the form of smog, and then the whole place becomes contaminated. Like in Delhi, they can't even see anything there because of the millions of autos that is running around there. Whereas India was a bullock cart civilization, and there was no pollution at all. Rather, the bulls, when they pass cow dung, and they collect it and make patties in their villages or in the houses, and there were no big cities. There were some, like Hastinapur was a big city, but Hastinapur was the land of the elephants, city of elephants. So the demons have their own way of looking at things. Everything is for their benefit. Like they're doing regime change, they're changing governments. They're trying to throw Modi out and get rid of Indian government so that whoever the next government will come, they'll become puppet of America. And they want to introduce gene manipulated agricultural products and cow feed, which has beef in it already. They want to feed the cows. And India is not agreeing for that. And Trump is not happy about it. India is not opening up. What is the meaning of opening up? According to their definition, means make it all null and void, degraded. This is not what Vedic culture talks about. But nowadays, due to Kali Yuga, Kalo Doshi Nije Rajan, there are many faults even in India. The leaders are becoming very crazy, demoniac. And there's one group of politicians, they favor America. Another say, no, we will do it, make it self-sufficient. No. I mean, America can be a self-sufficient country because they have so much land and so many varieties of all nice raw materials are available. And I told this man, if I would be the president of America, I will stop importing even one nail into this country. Rather, I will make the whole country into self-sufficiency. And that will be an example for the rest of the world. But they didn't like that idea. No, but we doing trade. Trade means, they exported opium, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And they brought in gold and silver, they brought it to America. And all these so-called aristocratic family, they were all involved in that. And they made trains and big universities in America. Whereas in China, they're lying around taking opium, completely becoming finished, like the Red Indians. But this is demons. Demons are way of doing things, is everything to destroy others. They cannot develop on their own and become self-sufficient. Rather, they will bring other countries down. And the oil, now India is suddenly dependent on oil from all other countries. India was an independent country where everything was grown in India. The GDP at that time was about 28% or 30%. The whole world was coming to India for everything, the best things of life. But they came and destroyed India. They introduced potatoes and so many vegetables, which only produce a lot of gas in the stomach. Potatoes are not, but America is a land of potatoes. Now India is also growing potatoes. Without potatoes, they cannot even live. In all Gaudiya Marts, they put potatoes in every dish. The potatoes is not in Jagannath Puri, they never use potatoes, tomatoes, carrots, none of these vegetables are used. But they cook a very good feast. And the spices are very few. Ginger, turmeric, black pepper, like that, few spices only they use. And some cardamom and cloves and things like that. So you can see from this verse how the demons will operate everything on opposite basis. Anyhow, these are all the facts of life. This is going on. This fight between the demons and the demigods are going on since time immemorial. There's not nothing new about it. So now we'll read text 4. Please repeat after me. Iti tushnim stitan daityan
Iti dunim stithan dityan
vilokya purushottama
viloka purushottama
mayamano visrajyagram
swayanamo vishriyagram
pucham jagraha samaraha.
pucham jagraha samaraha.
Translation. Thus the demoniac remains silent, thus the demons remained silent, opposing the desire of the demigods. Seeing the demons and understanding their motive, the personality of God had smiled. Without discussion, he immediately accepted their proposal by accepting the tail of the snake, and the demigods followed them. Text 5. Kritasthano vibhagasta. Please repeat.
Text 5. Okay. Kritas thana vibhagasta
Evam kashyapa nandanaha
evam kashyapa nandana
mamantu paramam yata
mamantu paramam yata
amritartham payonidim.
amritartam payonidim.
Translation. After thus suggesting how the snake was to be held, the sons of Kashyapa, both the demigods and the demons, began their activities, desiring to get nectar by churning the ocean of milk. Your butter is churned, Bologna method. You do like this. You churn the yogurt and you get butter. But the stick has to be held both from down and from above. And you will see it suddenly sank, the whole Mandara mountain sank. And the Lord appeared as a big, huge tortoise with 8,000 miles long. He held that mountain. We will see that in the next. Matyamane arnave sod adrir.
Matyamani anave so adre
Adrir anadharo pi hi apo vishat.
anadha vishat
Vishat driyamano pi balibir
driyamano api balibhir
gauravat pandu nandana.
gauravat pandu nandana.
Yeah, you have to read these verses every day, then you will become good at it. It's not a difficult thing. Even Americans are chanting very nice Sanskrit mantras, shlokas. So you can do it because most of our Indian languages are taken from Sanskrit. So it's not so difficult. Translation. O son of Pandu dynasty, when Mandara mountain was thus being used as a churning rod in the ocean of milk, it had no support, and therefore, although held by the strong hands of demigods and demons, it sank into the water. Here, water means the ocean of milk. Te sunir vinna manasaha
Te sunir vina mana saha
parimlana mukha shriya
parimlana mukha shriya
shriya
shriyaha
asansva paurushe
Hare
nashte.
Hare Krishna Rama Hare Krishna Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol. You're disturbing. Your japa is disturbing the class. Asan swa paurushe nashte
आसन स्वपरुष्ठे नष्टे
Nashte
daive nati bali yasa.
Deve Nati Bali Yasa.
I have to tell to Ipsita Day that while the class is going on, don't chant your japa. That is an offense to the Bhagavatam, the speaker of the Bhagavatam, and to the Supreme Lord. So your chanting has no value if it is so much offenses are made. So you should quietly hear the class and follow the class by having the Bhagavatam in front of you. Okay, Ipsita, you understand?
I think Prabhuji, she actually just joined the call. So maybe she was chanting and then thinking that chanting is going on. I just saw her join.
Okay.
Yeah.
Text 7. Te sunirvinna manasaha
Te Sunirvina Manasaha
parimlana mukhashriya
परिम्लान मुखश्रिया
Patriya
asan swa paurushe nashte
आसन स्वपौरुषे नष्टे
daive nati bali yasa.
दैवे नाति बलीयसा.
Translation: because the mountain has been sunk by the strength of providence, the demigods and the demons were disappointed, and their faces seemed to shrivel. Text 8. Vilokya Vignesha Vidim Tadeshwaro
Viloke Vigneshe Vidim Tadeshwaro
Duranta Viryo Vitatha Vishantiha Sandhi.
Viranta Viryo Vititha Bhishan Sandhi. Stuff, Prabhuji.
Yeah, because you don't practice, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Kritva Vo Kachapam Adbhutam Mahat
Kritva Vepu Kachapam Adbhutam Mahat
Pravishya Girim Ujjahara.
Pravishya Toyam Girim Ujjahara.
Translation: seeing the situation that had been created by the will of the Supreme, the unlimitedly powerful Lord, whose determination is infallible, took the wonderful shape of a tortoise, entered the water, and lifted the great Mandara mountain. Purport: here is the evidence that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the supreme control of everything. As we have previously described, there are two classes of men, the demons and the demigods, but neither of them are supremely powerful. Everyone has experienced that hindrances are imposed upon us by the supreme power. The demons regard these hindrances as mere accidents or chance, but devotees accept them to be the acts of the supreme ruler. When faced with hindrances, therefore the devotees pray to the Lord for Tattenu Kampam Susimikshamano Bunjana Kevatma Kritam Vipakam. Devotees endure hindrances, accepting them as to be caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and regarding them as benedictions. Demons, however, being unable to understand the Supreme Controller, regard such hindrances as accidental. Here, of course, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present personally. It was by His will that there were hindrances, and by His will, those hindrances were removed. The Lord appeared as a tortoise to support the great mountain. Shetiriha Vipulutare Tava Tishtati Priste. The Lord held the great mountain on his back. Keshavadrita Kurva Sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Dangers can be created by the Supreme Lord and they can be removed by him. This is known to the devotees, but the demons cannot understand it. Like many people, they have this question mark in the head. Prabhu, how can we maintain? How will I have to eat? Every day I have to eat. So I tell them, but so many animals are eating. They don't even go to school. They don't go to college. They don't have a job. They get their sex life. They produce kids. They eat every day. No problem. They are all strong and sturdy. The lions in the forest, they eat every day. The elephants also eat grass every day. So, if that is the case with the lower species, why should the human being work very hard? Yeah, one should work, no doubt. He has senses, he has to engage in the service of the Lord. So you have to work for Krishna's satisfaction. Like our Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a magistrate. He was working as a magistrate. And he was doing it for the pleasure of the Lord. He had enough time to write books and so many things. So you can see those who are devotees, they are ready to do anything that is necessary. Even when Prabhupada was there, some of the devotees had jobs, like Brahmananda and Satswarup had jobs, and they would give the salary, everyone's salary to Prabhupada for the upkeep of the temple. Similarly with Gopal Krishna Maharaj also. He was working for Pepsi Cola and he would give all his salary to Prabhupada. So if it is needed, one can get a job for the service of the Lord. Otherwise, it is not needed. Not that everybody has to work in a factory. And because the society is made in such a way, nobody is living out of the land like Prabhupada wanted that. Everybody has to go to work, drive car, 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, work for a job morning to evening, and they are dependent. They are not independent. But independence only comes for one who has knowledge of Krishna. That Krishna is the supreme controller and he is the supreme provider for all living entities. So this we have to become very convinced about this. Not that theoretically we are reading Shastras and chanting Hare Krishna, but we are not independent enough. Brahmanas, they are independent. They never take job under anybody. So we have to, first level is to come to the level of Brahmana. That means we expect, we depend on Krishna. And even if they're living in a vow of poverty, they still manage their life. Their wife and children, they manage. I've seen that in Kerala, in every place, many places. But they will never get a job because they are not dependent. Their main goal is controlling of the mind and serving Krishna. But nowadays, the society being educated, the mind becomes out of control right in the beginning, very young age. At the age of 18, they leave the home because they have to satisfy their uncontrolled mind, the desires, sex desire, man and woman, both of them leave the home. Nobody stays at home to serve the parents. There's no such concept. In America especially. So these are all some things which we have to, simply by seeing also we can learn from that. But if we go by Shastras, then we have to become independent. Not independent from foreign rule, but from independence from the onslaught of the three modes of material nature. And if you are not independent, then you are forced to be dependent. Then you have to do what the master tells you to do. That's all. Therefore, our program is get up early in the morning. Brahmanas, they get up at Brahma Muhurta time and they do Mangalarti, they chant, they japa nicely, peacefully, read Bhagvatam. Then they have Shaligram. All Brahmanas, they worship Shaligram Shila. Even one Shila, they worship, even our Bhaktivinoda Thakur was worshipping Kurma Shila. So like that, there are many Shilas, then you should worship on Shila and offer the food to Shila. Then worshipping Shila means worshipping the Lord himself directly. Radharaman came from a Shila in Vrindavan. So this is our culture. And there is so much knowledge. And this knowledge gives them so much bliss and happiness. They don't care for all these other types of satisfaction, which is basically based on sense gratification. Therefore, we have to mold our life in such a way that we become more and more or less and less dependent on the modern society. Very basically, we can do something with the modern society, but not everything. If you have a car and a motorcycle, and if you're living in a country like America, where people go 50 kilometers in a car to go to work somewhere, it's very difficult to become free from dependence. Not possible. In India, it is a fact. But nowadays, even in India, people are going from Navadvip all the way to Calcutta to work. Similarly, in Bombay, they go in trains. They have special trains. These are all the creation of the British Empire. They gave railways as a gift, and we are making it even more better. Previously, it was not like that. People were walking, they were doing, even here I am seeing in the Navadvip, the local people, they have little jobs, they work, they are blacksmiths, they're making buildings, they're mistris. They never leave the town, the Navadvip area. They make enough money, they make a little house and this and that, so many things. So therefore, one has to know how to live. Whereas our devotees, they go to America to make money and live in Mayapur. Whereas the local Mayapur Vasis, they live by working with whatever is available here. They produce enough milk, they grow a lot of vegetables. So Prabhupada said one should get a little piece of land and have a couple of cows so that you can live peacefully, being independent. And nothing is without difficulty. There is always some austerity, even in a Vedic times also. And human life is meant for austerities, so that we can develop the higher consciousness, dependence on Krishna. And if that is not being done, that is not being cultivated, instead of simple living, high thinking, we are simply living and no thinking whatsoever. Like our Mayapur should have been a nice village with simple houses, but now each house is 5-storied building. What is this? I mean, the whole thing is such a fiasco. But if people don't understand what Prabhupada wants, and the leaders are not enough having faith to guide them, they bring money from America and try to live in India. But none of the locals, they do that. They don't get dollars from America to live here. They manage their life. They may not be very opulent and wearing all sort of fancy dresses, nothing. And those who do, they are happy. Those who don't do, they have to struggle in their life. Text 9. Tam utitam vikshya kulachalam punaha. Repeat.
Tam utitam
Vikshya
vikshya tula chalam punaha.
punaha
Puna.
samudyata nirmatitum surasura.
Samudyata nirmata uttam sura.
Dadara prashtena salaksha yojana.
Dadara pratsena sa laksha yojana.
Prastarina dvipa iva paro mahan.
Prastarina diva
Deva
iva paro mahan.
Translation. When the demigods and the demons saw that the Mandara mountain has been lifted, they were enlivened and encouraged to begin churning again. The mountain rested on the back of the great tortoise, which extended for 800,000 miles. Just imagine the size. Like Krishna's pastimes is also all like that. Like when he lifted the Govardhan hill was 8 yojanas. They were touching the clouds. So whenever Krishna does something, it's all superlative. He was married to 16,108 wives, and he produced, with each wife, he produced 10 sons and 1 daughter. So just calculate the population in Dwaraka. Millions. And each son produced 10 sons and 1 daughter again. So just imagine. Everything what Krishna does is superlative. We want to compete with God. We don't even know who God is. What is the strength of Krishna? Bhagavad Tattva, we don't know. And we are thinking we are God. How can we be God? They put off this light, spoil the lamp. So, therefore, we have to know the Bhagavad Tattva, Bhakti Tattva, Bhagavad Tattva, Jiva Tattva, Krishna Tattva, Radha Tattva, all these things. We have to know the Tattva. The Tattvas are like theorems, axioms. We have to know all these things. Therefore, we can become convinced. With great faith, we can render service to Krishna by depending on Krishna. Even Maharaj, Nanda Maharaj, he was not a poor person. He had 800,000 or 900,000 cows, not one or two cows. Some people are, by their karmas, they will have unlimited wealth, like Raghunath Bhatta Goswami. His grandfather, they had, how much money they said. Prabhupada was telling they had 12,000 gold coins every month as income. Just imagine, 12,000 gold coins. So people were rich also. They were poor also people. Some were rich. King Ambarish Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, they were very rich. They are not poor people, great devotees. Prahlad Maharaj was also from a very aristocratic family. It's not like all devotees are poor devotees. All types of devotees were there, rich and poor and everybody. But we should follow what Prabhupada is talking about in Krishna conscious movement. Sura Surendra Bhujavirya Vepitam
Sura Suretrer Bhujavirya Vepitam
Vepitam
Paribhramantam Girim Anga Prishtata
Paribrahmantam Giri
Manga Prishtita
Anga Prishtita
Viprat Tat Avartanam Adi Kachapa
Biprat
Avartanam
Avartanam Adi Kachapo
Mene Anga Kanduyanam Aprameya
Mene Anga
Anga
Duyanam
Kandu Yanam
Aprameya
Aprameya.
O king, when the demigods and the demons, by the strength of their arms, rotated Mandara mountain on the back of the extraordinary tortoise, the tortoise accepted the rolling of the mountain as a means of scratching his body, and thus he felt a pleasing sensation. Purport: the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always the unlimited. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his body as a tortoise held on his back the largest of mountains, Mandara Parvat, he did not feel any inconvenience. On the contrary, he apparently felt some itching, and thus the rotation of the mountain was certainly very pleasing. They have a special stick which goes like this. They used to itch the backside. And people do that. When itching comes, when somebody, I remember my great grandfather was there. We used to scratch him. He say, hey, catch him back. And we would scratch and he would say, you stop it, don't stop, keep continuing. It gives great pleasure. The Lord also had this itching sensation, and he had a Mandara mountain. Of course, Lord was of the size of a tortoise, such a gigantic tortoise. He needed some back itching. By rotating the Mandara mountain, his itching was satisfied. Everything about the Lord is great, God is great, but they don't know how great God is. One should know. So at that point, I want to ask if there are any questions or comments from your side. Hari Bol, everybody.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam, all
Yeah.
good Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for reading
Thank you, sir.
verses. We ended on 10th, right, today?
We ended up at 10. Yeah.
10, okay, 11 tomorrow. Okay. Thank you so much for, enlightening us with this. We have heard about stories of this part of Bhagavatam. about the mouth and the tail. But today, actually, we realize how foolish the demons are, that they wanted, Lord was doing good for them, but they chose their mind to be, they probably think that, there's a thing, what, जो दूसरे के पास है वो अच्छा है. They thought what the demigods have is better.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
there's so much in ignorance. So that was
yeah,
really nice to, because we see, we can actually practically apply Bhagavatam to our daily, because
yeah,
it's like we face that in our life. So that was really
yes,
nice reading and
yes.
explaining, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Wonderful class. So, Prabhuji,
Actually,
I want to ask you, my question is not very related, but again, there are people who are demoniac mentality and they eat meat and stuff like that. And then they say that, suppose they develop some cancer or something and they are vegetarian. So doctors will say, no, now you need to take more protein, and, body is eating up, the cancer is eating up the body and stuff. So then they will start eating egg and fish and all these things. So why is there
ah,
among these ignorant people that they will get protein from animal? Why they think like that? From animal,
no, it's a question of their karma.
okay.
See, the point is that is the modern understanding. The modern understanding of ignorance is if you eat meat only, you get protein. But meat eating animals are also vegetarian by nature. The cows, the goats, all these animals. And the chicken, they eat all the worms. And what is the egg? Egg is when a woman goes on menses, she secretes some blood. And
Hmm.
this is what an egg is. If you
Mhm.
really understand, you go in the Google, you see what an egg is. They'll describe you. It is coming as a menses. And who wants to eat menses blood that is secreted as a blood from the body of a woman? So similarly, a chick, it passes eggs like that. And these eggs which they produce, they don't even produce babies. Previously, they used to have natural eggs. Now that is also manipulated. They feed something to the chicken and the chicken keeps on giving eggs. They get thousands and thousands of eggs.
To sell eggs.
Yeah.
To sell eggs. So,
So
Prabhuji, also there's another norm going around, that there is
uh,
vegetarian egg and then there is other egg. What is this vegetarian egg?
basically, egg is an egg.
Yeah.
There's nothing like vegetarian egg. An egg is that which comes out of a chicken.
Hmm.
Chicken goes on a periods. That's why they produce eggs.
Hmm.
So therefore, this idea of getting protein from animal products, this is a second-hand protein. The first-hand protein is the vegetarian. Chickpeas and a lot of lentils, dal, all these things produced, they are first-class proteins. Protein in the mode of goodness. Whereas in the proteins from animal product is called protein in the mode of ignorance.
Hmm.
They are not, all these animals which they eat, the horse, the cow, goat, they are all vegetarian animals.
Yes.
So where are they getting their protein from? They even eat those things which we cannot even eat and digest. The goats, they take small leaves of small plants. The cows eat the grass. Can we eat grass and produce protein like that? Our body is not made for that. So we have to have sattvic food. We have to know how to eat properly, things to do properly, not eat rotten stuff.
Yeah,
And
but
they kill
then,
the animal. At least when we were kids, we saw meat eaters. They would kill the animal freshly and they eat the animal. And nowadays, at least in America, they kill the animals and it takes weeks to go to another place by air-conditioned trains and trucks. So they're not even get fresh meat, all rotten meat. The eggs look so nice, they think it's no harm in just boiling and eating it up.
yes.
This is why, this is the knowledge in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, one should not consult such doctors. Even if they say some advice, we should just say yes, 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 but we should do what we are supposed to do. Eat chickpeas, soak chickpeas, either them eat raw or chana, you make a nice chana masala and take it,
The yellow
or make a
chana,
salad out of it.
dal, right? Yellow
Make a
dal.
salad out,
Yeah.
make a chana salad, you steam them nicely, they're soft, then you put some different vegetables, steamed vegetables, salad leaves, and you put olive oil, put some olives, and take a salad and roll it in a chapati and eat it.
So
Put some
probably
paneer
you
in it.
mentioned the goat eats the grass. They're vegetarian, and then they make their body from that, and they eat the. They think that that body is like protein. So even we are eating not grass but vegetables, and that's how we are developing our body. So there is no difference between
Yes.
goat and us that way, right?
No. Goat and us, they're definitely different. The goat is not having spiritual life,
Yeah, yeah.
whereas humans are supposed to have spiritual
No,
life.
I'm just talking about
So
the
whereas
eating, Prabhuji, eating habit.
here I'm talking, and let me come to that point. You have to be patient. See, the point is, we are cooking according to Ayurvedic knowledge. Goat is having no Ayurvedic knowledge. It is just munching on some of the leaves. I've seen, next to my door is house, there's a guy has about 20, 30 goats. What do they eat? Which we cannot digest that, what they eat. We cannot even eat that. But we are cooking and we are making nice preparations and we are taking milk from the cows. But what is a milk? Milk is a transformation of blood of the cow. The milk, whatever milk from whichever animal, they are all transformation of blood. So if you take the blood, it has one type of reaction. And if you take milk, you have another type of reaction. Milk is considered the mode of goodness, whereas blood is mode of ignorance.
Yes.
So you have to have knowledge, not just go by what the modern science says and this and that. You know.
Also, Prabhuji, one spiritual factor will be this, that we read there's a page in Bhagavad Gita, right, where Krishna is in everyone's heart, a blade of grass, everything.
Yes.
So, like that's
Yes.
why even blade of grass, even vegetables, so we offer and eat. But these people,
Yes.
they think that they can just take anything. So there's the Atma Paramatma in the egg, in the goat, in the, so everywhere there's Atma Paramatma that is growing. So that's why we offer and eat. But for them, it is just like they just eat like that, So.
But you cannot offer meat, because what is a meat in Sanskrit? Mamsaha. Mam means me, saha means you. I kill the goat to satisfy my needs, and the goat also has the right to kill us. As many hairs on the body of the goat, that many times that soul has the right to kill you, because you're interrupted in the process of evolution of the soul in the goat body. Therefore, you have to face the consequences. If I kill you, you think I will be left alone? The police will come and put me in the prison, and who knows, I'll be sentenced to death. So similarly, the laws of nature protect all the animals, but the animals themselves don't create karma. If the lion takes a goat or a deer, that doesn't produce karma. They don't cook.
Also,
They don't have
Prabhuji,
a offering. So therefore, you have to understand, human life is meant to serve Krishna, God, and therefore we have the good fortune of being able to offer our food to Krishna and accept it as prasadam. If you are eating without offering, then it is called bhoga.
yes. Prabhuji, one
Any
last
other
point.
question?
One last point I wanted to make is, it in a dietary, like you talk about Ayurveda, in a diet, it is best to eat food that we cook and eat, right?
Yes, yes.
Anything we cook, whether vegetable, dal, make milk preparation, because that is easy for on our system to digest, than to have snacks and other things, which are. Uh, can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
No, snacks means what? It's all cooked in machine in a factory. Nobody knows what they put, how they use the ingredients, what oil they cook. We don't
Yeah.
know.
Pasta and
You
things like
can
that. pasta, noodles,
Pasta and noodles, it's okay. You can make your own noodles. When in South India, in household, my mother used to make noodles. Used to make noodles, rice noodles. So you can make your own noodles.
Yes, I prefer eating dal, chawal, sabji, and roti, Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. If anybody has any question, comments for Prabhuji, they can go ahead.
Chitra Gidwani, you have any questions?
Oh, Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna. I was just
Hare
listening.
Krishna.
And because of the baby disturbance, so I will listen to the recording again, Prabhuji. I could not pay full attention because I have to see the baby also. But later, I will drop her now to school, then listen the full recording again. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Vamsi Vilas Das, Prabhu, you have any questions, comments?
Dandavat pranam. Thank you so much for taking us through this wonderful pastime of Samudra Manthan. Prabhuji, my question is, here we see that the Devas are collaborating with the Asuras. So should we also understand that in our life we have to collaborate with the demons to accomplish something grand, like turning the milk ocean?
Yeah, we are already collaborating. If you're buying a car is not made, is not a demigod's creation, it's a demoniac creation. Ugra karma. We are part of the Ugra karmic society. Big endeavors. So you have to cooperate. If you want to live in America, you have to cooperate with the government. But if you want to be independent, then you have to follow Prabhupada's formula. If you make money in America, just transfer it in India and get a piece of land, 2-3 acres of land, have a cows and stay with your family, with your parents, everybody there, and have a nice life.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. And also, we see here that the Lord is very forgiving of the demons when they wanted to take the head part. So should we also give in when others are trying to get our positions?
What is that? What is your question?
So Prabhuji, the Asuras wanted to take the head part of Vasuki, and the Lord did not argue with them, just gave them the head part and went to the tail part. So should we learn from that if somebody is fighting for our position, should we just leave and silently go and take the lower position?
Well, if your position is for the Lord's pleasure, and if somebody comes in as a hindrance, yeah, you have to give it to him, let him figure it out, or if you can convince him, then you can do a better job. But if somebody wants that by politics, you leave it to him, and then he will have to take care of that.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Sometimes you have to also accept things which you may not want to do that. Because if you are into politics and everything, then of course your peace of mind is lost. And that will create a disturbance in your bhajan. You cannot peacefully do bhajan, you cannot peacefully read. Then you are always, the mind is absorbed in this politics. So you have to keep it life a little bit simple. Yeah, if somebody wants something, chalo, even if you make $10 less, chalo, bhai, you can have it.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All good, Prabhupada. Garima Bansal. Who's Garima Bansal? Malini, any questions?
No questions, Prabhuji, but it was you explained very well about the demonic of the Vedic times and of the present day, like how people act in a demon way. You put it very nicely. So thank you very much. So that was very apt for today's life. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll just do a little bhajan. Okay. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya
Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari.
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari.
Jaya Gopi
Gopi Jana Vallabha
Hari.
Giridharadhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari.
Jaya
Jaya Gopi
Vallabha
Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashoda
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Yashoda
Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Nati
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha
Rama.
Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Ram
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jayo Prabhupada, Jayo Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada.
Jaya
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva.
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur.
Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol,
Jaya
Hari
Hari Bol.
Bol.
Jaya Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila
Jai,
Gurudev ki jai,
Jai,
Sai Radhanam, Kiranath Giri Govardhan ki jai,
Jai,
Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam,
Jai,
Goswami Prabhu,
Jai,
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
All glories are simple devotees, Hare Krishna. All
Hare
glories are
Krishna,
simple devotees, Hare Krishna. All
Hare
glories are
Krishna,
simple devotees, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
All
Hare
glories, all
Krishna.
glories. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai,
Panchakalpata.
Jai,
एवच पतितेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। आनंद
Jai ho.
Jai Ho.
राम
Thank,
की जय।
Jai, Jai.
Thank you for
Thank,
enlightening today with Srimad Bhagavatam Katha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you, thank you.
Everyday chant devotees की जय।
Jai, Jai.
Jai.